Hey, hey, hey. Everybody hear me out there in YouTube land? Major Havoc here. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me pretty good and uh, lights aren't glaring too bad. It's dark out here. Gonna wait for a few people. I see my man Thomas. Thomas is in the chat. Tactical Chef North Carolina. Chuck, my guy, he's here. Good to see you guys. I'm trying to see what I can see on this screen without my glasses. Hey, Chuck, if you hear me and it sounds good, give me a thumbs up in the chat, please. So we'll wait for a few more people to get going on. All right, there you go, Chuck. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think Thomas is in there somewhere. So, oh, there's Jeff. What's going on, man? Good to see you, brother. Yeah, we're going to talk about 2011s a little bit today or tonight. Maybe that'll be something we all have in common. I got to check if I can read this thing. Hey, man, I'm glad that Prodigy advice worked. I know a thing or two about Prodigies. I just enjoy them. That make them run. So we'll let a few more people. It's not even 8:30 yet. We'll get this thing going here in a second. But I want to thank you guys. I know there's lots of other things going on tonight, but I had a little time and figured I'd try this out. Put some new Wi-Fi boosters so I can get a good signal out here in the shop. So it's more comfortable out here, and then I don't have to worry about being quiet in the house. So excuse me for leaning forward. I got a chat box about that big. I'll get this figured out. I'm on the YouTube platform. I didn't get that StreamYard loaded up yet, so I'll try to get that working too. Then I can have invited guests and stuff as we go forward here. Probably be announcing a podcast soon, hopefully, in a collaboration and some new collaboration guns that once we're ready to release those, it'll be kind of cool. We'll talk about those in another live in about a month or so. So I'm trying to see what it says about number of folks out in here. I can't see that part, but looks like we got a few folks in here coming in. We'll get started in just a second. I appreciate you guys smashing that like button. I guess the invitation or the announcement that I was going to go live tonight went out successful because I see a bunch of folks in here already. So it's 8:30 on the dot now. So let's try to get started. Taylor's in here. Wow, let's see. That helps a little bit better. G. Turner's in here. The Weapon Collective, Tactical Chef, Thomas, my man. All right. So for y'all that have watched the channel for, I guess, a little over 14 months or so, 15 months, I think I'm approaching my 300th video. You know, some of them are shorts and just teasers and stuff. I want to thank you guys at all the subscribers so far and everybody that's in the chat. The topic for tonight is, 2011s, porting and upgrades. I mean, we all feel that porting is an upgrade, but not just the porting, but internal upgrades, aesthetic upgrades, things like that. So I often get asked, why do you start with some of the lower tier? Some call them, I don't want to be offensive to anybody on pricing. They call them budget entries, or I guess first tier or entry level. Man, they're all good. I just love the platform. I started shooting the 1911s in 1980. It was late 1980 when I shot the first pistol tournament with a Colt Gold Cup 45 ACP. So when people say I don't look like I'm too recoil sensitive, well, when you get hundreds and hundreds of thousands of rounds through a 45, start shooting these 9mm, it's not quite so bad. But age and arthritis does take a toll on you. But I just love the platform, and I've seen it evolve. Maybe a week ago, I did a quick teaser on the OG, the original double stack, which was the Para Ordnance back when they came out of Canada before they moved to North Carolina. I still have two of my collection of paras. I got rid of the other ones, but I got the Para Ordnance P1445. Hey, Michael Nolan, hey, good to see you. Mr. Blacksmith, Team Blacksmith, welcome to the channel. So the Para Ordnance, I got rid of all those, but I kept the 9mm double stack Para Ordnance, and I kept my original money-winning pistol. That was a P1445 Limited. Used to shoot bowling pin tournaments with that, and so it's all started there with the passion for double stacks. And then shortly thereafter, I switched from Para Ordnance to STI, and then the rest is history. Man, everything, man. The 2011 market is just blown up, and I'm glad to see. I think, I'm not going to go and make a 100% proof positive statement, but I really think, love it or hate it, the Prodigy really got more people looking at the platform, and certainly because of some early little tiny hitches for some, we started having some debates on the quality control, stuff like that. But the Prodigy kind of started the upgrade and the budget phenomena. Now, man, you've got some really nice, most of them are Turkish imports, and some of them say, assembled here in America. But they asked me, why do you take those and why do you upgrade those? Well, it's just like in the background there, you see my 1939 Chevy. Why do you take an old 1939 car and lower it and slam it to the ground and put wheels on it and air conditioning and a big motor? It's just kind of how you roll. When we were teenagers, why did we jack up the car and put mag wheels on them? Upgrades are just part of it. Right here in the Carolinas, why do you jack up a Jeep and put the off-road kits on them and all that? There's upgrades, modifications. Why do you put wheels and tires on your truck? Motorcycles. I was into Harley Davidsons. That's the most upgraded and accessorized motorcycle around. So we just do the same things with our pistols. Some people like the aesthetic upgrades. My guy, Team Blacksmith, he's got some killer stuff with, gold ornamentation and, the fancy aesthetics and high performance stuff. My man BTG and Jeff at the Weapons Collective, super nice stuff, So I like to, kind of roll with the upgrades, because that way you can kind of not just upgrade them for performance, which is what I'm all about, is flat, fast, reliable shooting. And for those that have shot with me and in person, kind of know that I've got one speed, and that's just like rock and roll. So I started the upgrade phenomena a long time ago, right when the Prodigies came out. Years before that, just for performance. But with the 2011s, the Prodigy became my passion to make it better, because everybody was hating on it. So I said, man, let's see if this thing can run. So we just started with internal polishing, new internal kits, EGW or Atlas or Extreme, getting those things that fit and finish perfect on the inside. Nice triggers, Atlas Red Dirt, smooth actions. Then, man, porting it, V ports, inline ports, chunk ports, compensators, all those things. So, wow, appreciate you guys joining. Clay Mack, brother, good to see you. Uncommon Korean, thanks, darling, for joining. So this is pretty cool. So that's the beginning of the upgrade. Became for me the Prodigy. So, and I get asked all the time, well, which porting do you like on the Prodigy? Well, I have inline ports on the Prodigy that you've seen in some previous videos. I've got V ports on some Prodigies. I've got compensator on some Prodigies. We've done some combination porting. So I was even asked that today by someone else that says, which one works the best? Well, your porting is going to be dependent on barrel type. Like CZs don't have really a bull barrel. I have a couple that do, but the thinner barrel profile, it works better with a certain kind of porting. And also the amount of real estate you have, a 3.5 compact, a 4 1/4, a 4.6, or a 5. They don't have, you can't just do everything in one small amount of real estate. So, I decide on the porting based on the style of the slide, the length of the gun, and the type of barrel, whether it be a bushing barrel, which is not my favorite, a bull barrel, which I really like, and also or an island barrel. That tells me the way I'm going. So I'll digress back to the budget imports. You know, what I do is if I acquire one. So let's start with the Mac 9. Not nice pistol, sub 1,000. I get it. I get those. I got a pair at the same time, a 4 1/4, which I'm really a 5-inch guy. But I got the 4 1/4 and the 5-inch, and was going to do the exact same thing to them. But I have to shoot them in their factory stock condition first, and I just want to see how do they do. How would they do for you when you get them? So I try to make up my mind at that point. Somewhere between 500 to 600 or 800 rounds gives me a good idea. So So Michael Nolan's asking a question there about, can you explain the difference on porting on imported guns like the Bull Armory versus guns made in the U.S., where you've heard that there were issues with the way they port the imported guns. Bull Armory, if you're talking about the recent bulls, which would be the EDC Pro, there would be the TAC and the TAC Pro. Those are factory ported guns. You have the 4 1/4, and you have the 5-inch. Those are my TAC was not ported, so I ported it here local. But those are a V port configuration. To me, they run really good. I really like the Bull Armory, the porting. They're what I would call a little underported. They're really smooth, really accurate, and very reliable. So I can't say anything about I can't say anything about the bull. A while back, there was some, with all the different upgrade shops around and machine shops around, gunsmiths that are doing porting, there was some, bad porting years ago where which really started with chunk porting, where they weren't back boring underneath the chunk. Because that's an aggressive piece of the barrel taken out, and if it's not machined properly and all that, you can really have some plating or jacket separations and some bullet shearing on bad porting. So I don't really get into bad porting because all the folks I'm dealing with, Trenton at TDS, Gunworks, Michael at On Point Guns, David at DSC, Greg at Cosin Arms. I mean, all these shops for my CZs, send them to Impact Machine or United Research. Those guys are doing a wonderful job. Pedro down there in Florida with Tampa Gunworks. I've sent him some SIGs and such as that. They all do good work now, and I'm not having any trouble with that type of porting. And if you've seen some of the aggressive guns I've had that are combination ported, chunk port, inline port, V port, inline port, V port, chunk port, ported island barrel, now ported island barrel and compensated. That's an expensive upgrade. Sourcing island barrels right now and machining slides to accommodate an island barrel. Those that we're talking about, that's not budget stuff there, guys. That's the real deal. But if you've ever shot a properly ported island barrel that's also compensated, ooh, it's heaven. I think we just had one on the channel last week. Chuck's in the chat. Chuck, that was last week, I believe, that we shot Adams A-Zone. And that thing was just next level. And it's going off to coding right now. So let's go back to the Mac 9. Keep me on track here. I'll get going. I'll go left and right and zig and zag, But the Mac 9 is a great one to upgrade. The model that I like now is that Mac 9. They call it comp. Keep in mind, guys, you're not going to hear me call them comp unless it's on the end of the barrel. If it's cut into the barrel, it's a chunk port. But Prodigy calls it a comp. Mac calls it an integral comp. It's just a chunk port. But that model, the Mac 9 DS comp, 4 1/4 and 5-inch government, are wonderful platforms. They're reliable out of the box. They shoot well, extract well, eject well. It's a very well put together pistol. So my process is buy them. I don't get given these guns. I buy them. I do appreciate discounts from some of the places I buy, and they hook me up sometimes. But I buy them and shoot them 500, 800 rounds, and then I'll let folks that are with me, Chuck or Adam or Williams, whoever's with me, we'll shoot them. We kind of have a little powwow on them, and we evaluate them. And if it's going to be a keeper, I'll know that within that 500, 800 rounds, and then I start hatching a plan. Now, my plan is I see the end result before I start. And I've just been doing it long enough that I kind of get that vision and kind of know what I want. But for everybody's not going to be able to do that. So you can upgrade in stages, and I do recommend that. You're going to benefit a lot on these guns by a good trigger and a good trigger job. You're going to see me use. I don't really spend the extra money for the Infinity trigger, but on these imports. But the Atlas trigger or the Red Dirt are going to be of great service for a lifetime for you. So a nice ignition kit and trigger job. And then I'm going to always pin and blend that grip safety. To me, we don't get in debate. There's no use on earth for a competent shooter with a 19 or 2011 to have a grip safety. Maybe if you're carrying a compact all day long, maybe, but for a range or a competition gun, it serves no purpose. So that's a basic starting point to upgrade. And then the next upgrade to me is going to be some sort of porting, because those are both functional. They're performance enhancing and functional. So the trigger, the ignition kit, which is going to smooth everything out and help with that disconnect drag on some of them if they have it. And then the porting is very performance enhancing, keeps it flatter and faster. Everything just is going to be coming together at that point on the process of upgrade. Then some of the other upgrades you will see that I do, and some of the Trenton at TDS is coming out with some just wild aesthetics, but there's some slide cuts. Now, the reason I did slide cuts a long time ago was, there you go, Jeff, I'm with you, brother. The reason I did slide cuts was I really didn't care about aesthetics because to me, until this YouTube phenomenon and everybody about this good looking stuff on camera, the slide cuts to me was to reduce the weight, because I shot 5-inch guns. So I was reducing the weight of the slide. So between the internal upgrades and the porting, the next thing I needed to do was reduce the weight of the slide so I could have the 5-inch smoothness, the 5-inch flatness, but then I could get a commander type speed. So we would strategically take weight out of the slide to reduce that reciprocating mass. And so that's how I evolved with the slide cuts, and then or the better optic cuts. So we could take, like a Prodigy has a round top, an old government profile top. You can tri-top that, takes a lot of weight out, right? You can flat top it, takes a lot of weight out. You can window cut the serrations where you can see through the barrel. That takes weight out. You can pocket cut the sides and go in 30 something thousandths and take the weight out and start getting that thing balanced. There's some ways and some other tricks I don't really go into where you can take some weight that you can't see out. But I don't want to take any weight out of the frame. I want to add weight in the frame. I mean, I'll even add weight in the guide rod, a tungsten guide rod or what have you. But those will be the tricks that I'm not calling upgrades, but those are just secrets from the past. But I want heavy weight in the frame, but I want light weight in the slide, and then so that's going to be the aesthetics is going to be the next thing as far as the machining aesthetics. And those aren't that expensive. And then the final thing in the upgrade process is kind of like choosing your coating and then your grip. You're not going to see, except on a Prodigy, me running a polymer grip. The Mac 9 is a great pistol. The Romulus is a great pistol. The Bersa, oh my gosh, probably the best of the import. They say it's not an import, but I kind of think it is. I think it's yeah. I'm just going to say I don't think it's 100% made in America. It might be. If it is, and it's a good pistol. The Bersa, to me, out of the box, it far exceeded any of the budget ones I've had so far, even the Mac 9. Now it's just, plain old non-ported, non-comp, but you can certainly turn that thing up. But I don't run those factory plastic grips. I mean, I won't even call those polymer. They're just not. They're slippery. They look good. The Romulus one's kind of cool looking. The Girsan looks like a 40-year-old 1911 made in plastic. So I'm not going to stick with those grips. But that's an expensive upgrade. You could go to MJD Polymer, which is a Kevlar and carbon fiber blend. It's probably the very nicest non-metallic grip, but it costs right up there with them. So I'm going to go with a nice aluminum grip on those. I'm not going to step up the steel on the budget, because anything I'm going to do for competition is going to have a Chile steel grip or a Masterpiece steel grip or something like that already, and it's going to be a heavy gun out of the box, or an Atlas steel grip. But I'm going to use those guns for competition. I'm not going to use the budget one, because I'm going to run that with aluminum, and I'm going to use, like the Miller grip. I like the Cosent grip. I like the On Point grip in aluminum. The Warwick Tactical, I really like that. I got the Icarus when it first came out, and it was an absolute pain in the ass to fit. But now the second, because it was a TTI Icarus, but the new Icarus I understand is a lot better. I haven't, it kind of soured me, so I haven't went back to Icarus. But very expensive upgrade on the grips. You're talking about $350 if you catch them on sale, all the way up to $600 or $700. And if you don't know how to fit them and install them, then you got to pay somebody. So that's what I do on the Mac 9. The Romulus is a great gun. It's a compensated gun. It's kind of like a XC wannabe, just like the Girsan Match X. If you'll notice my upgrades on those, they're all the same. Grip swap, red dirt trigger or Atlas trigger, EGW internals, springing, all those things are what I do to all of them. And then after I run them, then we'll decide on the supplemental ported them. I did the Match X by doing some inline ports on it. I did the it first. I did the same thing with the Romulus. I went back after these budget guns were whipping my XC's ass. They were funner to shoot than my XC, and my very expensive XC was setting in the safe, gathering dust. I said, golly, let's just see. So I did some comparisons, and everything was beating the XC. I had these $1,000 guns that had maybe $1,000 in upgrades in them. I mean, not including lighter optic, and they were outrunning the XC. XC was always super accurate, but and these guns are accurate as well. But we're only talking quarter-inch difference, a 2-inch group versus 2.5-inch group. So they're all fairly equal. But the XC was just gathering dust. It just was gathering dust. So I said, man, I've got to just juice this thing up. So I decided if it was good enough for the Match X and the Romulus, man, let's poke some holes in this bitch. So what we did is took the math from the Match X and the Romulus and located the ports where we wanted them. I had them sized the way I wanted them, and we just added 3 supplemental ports that kind of go hand in hand with the factory compensated barrel of the XC. And I tell you what, if you saw that last video like 3 weeks ago, I mean, you got to keep in mind, I'm not a fast shooter anymore. I got stubby little hands and arthritis all in them. I can't see more than 10 feet in front of me, and I'm old. But I was running that XC and the Match X and the Romulus like 6 shots in 1 second. But a group like this. Now, if you want to shoot the whole A zone, hell, I can do those in .85s, no problem. But if I was trying to do an accurate group. So, I mean, you can get impeccable accuracy at speed with these guns. So that's kind of what I do there on those. The Bersa, you kind of, we went crazy on that. The Kimber 2K11, it's got 9 ports and a chunk port. It's the first one that was all 3 types of barrel porting. It was V6, inline 3, and a chunk port. So you can go to TDS on Facebook's Trenton Slitster, TDS Gunworks. Look at what he did on my Versa. Oh my gosh! And it's got a black on-point grip on it. The V3. It's just amazing. So let me see if I can catch up with some of the comments. Yeah, I think you're right, Clay. The Versa's some Dassault parts as well. Oh, oops, screen went out here. Let me see. Yep, Chuck, you're right. On-point grips is fine. Jeff, 100% on the grip safety. I'm with you, brother. I'm not a fan of grip safety on anything. Even my carry gun, even my Havoc 3.5 had the pin grip safety on at least one of them. Let me see. CB, welcome to the channel. That's cold in Michigan. Yes, cold here. I had to turn the heat on the shop. Hey, Dylan Does Guns. What's going on, man? Thanks for joining in. Oh, Dylan Does Guns. My friend there in South Carolina. Just this week, he got in his long-awaited Hayes ported island barrel. So, chat, give Dylan some congratulations. He held out for it seems like over a year, maybe even a year and a half, that he's waited, and he got a black DLC and I believe it was rose gold ported island barrel. It is bad to the max. I think he's already got an optic on it, and I don't know if he shot it yet. I'll speak to him later on. But that is cool. Let me see. Who do I know has got new guns lately? Oh, well, Jeff, he gets new guns all the time. Jeff just got a killer Alpha American. It would have been a Warfighter, but he got it from Covert, so it's got some cool camo DLC and PVD. Let me see. Oh, I'll tell you what, Clay Mack got him a Hayes also. I know I seen him shooting that, and he was lucky enough to shoot that with that new Jacob Gray Knox 9, making me jealous. Let me see here. What's the best ports for a 2K11 to run? Okay, I got that question today from another gun tuber friend of mine. He's like, man, I'm gonna start getting into this upgrading stuff. He said, I said, what's the best ports to run? Well, I kind of touched on it in the past. It has to do with the barrel design, whether it's a bushing barrel, whether it's a bull barrel, or whether it's an island barrel. Also the barrel length, and then also the slide configuration. Some guns are just not set up to be V-ported, because if they've already got some window cuts and they're in the wrong place or at the wrong angle, could you poke holes in it? Yes. Can you get the right performance? On a V port, as you know, it's coming out in a V pattern, but there's a certain angle where it works the best. Like if you do, I've seen Vs that were real shallow Vs that were not quite straight up like this. Let me see how, not straight up, but just a real shallow V. Let's say 25-degree V. That's not going to work, because think of this: when you've got that round barrel and you got the V ports going in, if they're going in at this angle, when they go through the barrel and get to the end, it's not two ports down in there anymore. They could touch in the barrel, messes up the rifling, messes up how the bullet exits. So you can't be too vertical on your Vs. I've also seen the opposite, where people have tried to adapt to the slide serrations. You have like a window cut slide serration, which is really cool, takes weight out, it's aesthetically pleasing. But if those ports go in like this, I've seen some ports where they're damn near sideways. I'm like, holy shit, it's going to blow the gun left and right. It's not going to know what it wants to do. So I test with software, which is kind of technical. I don't want to go that far off the tangent, but I've got sensors that go on the gun, and it tells me to 1/10 of a degree how much the muzzle rises, right? It'll tell me to 1/10 of a degree. So what you see on camera is my side view. You see the video of what it's doing. But when I'm collecting the data for my research, and when I'm collecting the data for some of the gun manufacturers I work with and some of the collaborators where I'm having custom guns designed, I've got to do the computer testing to verify that. And we've got computer models called CFD testing, conformational fluid dynamics that tells me how big the ports need to be, how many are going to work, things like that. But then we have the computer data. So we have the video data and the shooter feel. And I trust what I feel. Like I said, I got well over 1 million rounds shooting 2011s and 1911s. So I'm going to trust my feelings on that as well. But then the computer is going to tell me if it says, 6.87 degrees of muzzle rise, well, that's what it is, right? Then it also tells me this: the angle of deflection off of target for your windage. So this is the angle of deflection, and this is the degree of muzzle rise. My software tells me that with that sensor. It's amazing. So I always say the last person to listen to about muzzle rise or softness or flatness is the shooter. They can be confused a little bit. If the gun is really soft, they think it's flat, but flat and soft are two different phenomena when you really get down to it. So I do some kind of in-deep nerdy type testing with the computers as well. So the best one, to answer the question more directly, is sometimes you have to get the best one that's going to work in your configuration. On a 3.5 that's already slide cut, you might have to go inline ports. Nothing wrong with inline ports. Inline ports, when they're properly located and they're properly sized, and then the correct number of them, are going to do quite well. Inline ports respond very well. And just to give you a little heads up, inline ports are going to be the softest in your feelings, in how you feel what the gun does. They're going to be, and I'm talking about solo porting, where you don't combine two configurations. When you don't combine inline with chunk, or V with chunk, or a comp and ports, with just one style of porting. Just kind of a general statement across the board is inline porting is going to be the softest, right? The V porting, when it's by itself and properly located, if it's way too far forward at the exit of the muzzle, that's not going to be good on V ports. If they're too far back, closer to the chamber, that's not going to be good. They got to be sized correctly, properly positioned, which means the right location on the barrel and the right V, right, in the right spot, and the right size and the right number. When all that's done correctly, in theory and in operation, the V ports are going to be a little flatter, right? So you're going to have it's going to be a little faster, a little flatter on the Vs. The inlines are going to be a little softer, still flat, but a little softer. The chunk port all by itself is kind of, it's not my favorite when it's just by itself. To me, the chunk port by itself is the least effective. Now, some guns, they've just got it right. The Mac 9 by itself, I like the way it shot. The Prodigy Comp shot pretty good by itself, but it just depends. It's my least favorite by itself, but it benefits the most by supplemental porting with the chunk comp or the chunk port. Like the Mac 9, the Prodigy, they really do respond to some, let's call it assistance. Let me catch up with the chat here and get a little drink here. Am I going too fast for you guys? 2A in LA is in the house. Thank you, Alan. Gina V. Gina, thank you. Tatted Cops, look at this. We are having a evening tonight. So back on the chunk port. To me, it's the least effective. Is effective, but the least in the configurations the way they come from the factory. But they respond the best when you do some supplemental porting. Like, let me see, a recent one that I think Chuck has. Well, Chuck has an AB prototype. I know Jeff at the Weapon Collective has an AB prototype. I have my Root Beer Bronze AB. I coordinated with Alex and collaborated with him and gave him the data I wanted, and he built his first combo ported, where he calls his chunk port a ventilator, right? But it's ventilator because it's a big ass port, and it's really nice on the Commander like Chuck's. It doesn't need any extra. It's nice the way it is. On the 5-inch, I thought it needed some help, so I gave him some math, and we added 4 additional inline ports. Jeff did a big video on his, real nice video. Um, let me see. Yeah, Jeff, you're right. On the mainspring housing, on the Icarus. Well, mine didn't even come with one, my first one. And then it's hard to fit one in there. It was so tight. And then it didn't, I couldn't even get the trigger to fit. So I just have stopped using the Icarus, but that was the TTI Icarus in the very beginning. So I'm sure they've improved. But so, so when you're talking about the AB prototype again, by adding those 4 ports to that, and he called that the Havoc system. He was just nice enough because I provided him the data and kind of gave him the guinea pig gun. And so what I do with some of these manufacturers, I'll say, I want you to do this for me. And they're like, no, what if it don't work? I say, well, I'll eat the cost because I know that if they port that gun and it doesn't work, it's over ported and they did something wrong, it's really not that expensive to fix it. It just means fit a new barrel. If you poke the wrong size holes in it, it's $200 dealer cost for another barrel. Just fit it, and it's no problem. And if it shouldn't have been ported, just put a non-ported barrel in there. Then you got an extra slide cut. It's aesthetically cool. Reduce the weight of the slide. Just move on. It'll be fine. So I'll take that risk. That's how the Havoc V12 evolved. I went to Coast and said, "I'll design this gun. You build it for me. I'll take 5 of them for me and my friends. So I'll give you the order for 5 custom guns. We build it my way." And we all know that V12 is one flat, fast bastard. It'll hang with anything I own. But it's also got a lot of rounds to it, so it's just fast. So when you say which is the best porting, it's any porting is good. Some is too small is bad. Too big is bad. So there's a happy medium on the number of ports, the location, and the size. And I've got, like I said, I've got the data on just about every configuration of porting. We're coming up with some new stuff. I'm really getting into hybrid porting, which is porting an island barrel and then combining that with a comp. And we're designing some comps that are like multi-chamber comps that are going to just, maintain the pressure, manage the velocity, but smooth those things out and with that extra weight forward. So, and we're working with, instead of just round ports, if you've seen some of my guns, I've got a couple with rectangle ports, square ports, oval ports, and we're working with some new oval or trapezoidal ports with round ports like V and inline in companion porting or combo porting or hybrid porting. Those things are just amazing too. So you'll see those coming out on the channel. I'm not at liberty to discuss who I'm collaborating with yet, but we'll have a big broadcast. I don't know if we'll try a joint live or whatever, but we're going to have some new pistols coming out, hopefully in December, to beat the SHOT Show crowd. But it'll be some cool stuff. So let me see what we got here. Havoc Island, yeah, the Havoc Island is in development right now. So it's probably going to be February, because guys, this is a small channel. I'm self-funded, so the Havoc Island is probably the most expensive project I've taken on. So it's probably going to be February or March for that. But we've got some nice stuff coming that I'll be reviewing. Yeah, let me see. Oh, Jeff's got the 2000 Orama. I haven't seen that one yet. Must have just populated, So, but so in addition to porting, we talk about the aesthetics. You see that after the slide cuts, those are the visual, but they have that secondary benefit, or to me, it's the primary benefit of lightweight. Then we go in. I did a video on coatings probably 2 months ago. Whether it's DLC, PVD, black nitride, Cerakote or KG Gun Coat. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of stuff you can do with Cerakote, but you're going to get the most durability and lubricity out of your DLCs and your PVDs or your 10. They're all either DLC. Your black one is mostly going to be always DLC, and your really dark charcoal gray, that's a DLC, whether it's matte, satin, or polished. But then all your colors are basically still a PVD in the way they're applied, but they'll have different letters behind them, like CRN chromium nitride, which that means silver, and then TINCN or whatever, that tin coat, that's going to be the yellow gold. Then I don't know what then they've got bronze, they got rose gold, they got copper. It's just all different coaters have different hues of those earth tone copper, rose gold, and bronze, and those really look good when added to DLC. Just get some accent pieces, and to me, coating the barrel is the most important. Because the slide is going to break in, the frame and slide are going to break in and work together over a little bit of break in and use, and just kind of polishing it itself while it's shooting. I don't do a lot of buy a gun and manually rack it. I mean, my hands are going to get sore with this arthritis, so I'm not going to sit here and rack a gun 1,000 times. I'm just going to run 1,000 rounds through it. Let the violence of the live fire break that bad boy in for me. But to me, like polishing the barrel and having good internals is probably a little bit more important to me than is the slide and the frame DLC, because the where they contact is going to wear in anyway. So if you've ever put tens of thousands of rounds on a gun, you're going to see where it's wearing in, and and that's not a bad thing. After you shoot the first 500 or 600 rounds and you take it apart and clean it, you can actually start seeing the wear there, and that's a good thing. That's the wear is where it was a little bit needing to kind of break itself in. So DLC is great. I really like the DLC on the barrel, or PVD on the barrel. To me, that's really important. But I just love the finish. But you're limited to those 4 or 5 colors. I like camo. Now you can get camo, PVD, and DLC, but we can't put that stuff in the budget tier. Just that coating and the finishing of the metal and the coating is going to put that above a budget tier gun. By the time if you do a grip swap to a metal grip and you don't do anything else, and you just do that DLC PVD with the camo, holy Moses, you're over the budget tier already. You're already in the mid tier, and you haven't made the gun perform better. You just made it look better. So that's kind of my take on the coatings. I like them all. I do not discriminate against Cerakote. I'd say my collection is 60% Cerakote and other coatings, and only 40% DLC and PVD. So I'm kind of like an equal opportunity purchaser and shooter. So see if I can catch up on some questions in here. Okay. Let me see old text about Island Barrel. Michael Nolan, is an Island Barrel that much better? Well, I've got to say yes. If you just think about it, let's think about just the physics of the Island Barrel. So you've got your regular round barrel, and then you got that island on top. The thickness of that island is, I think it's a little over 200 thousandths thick. 250 thousandths is a quarter inch. So it's not quite a quarter inch, but it's a thick chunk of metal and on a long island. Like if you've ever seen a KKM island, the length of the island on a KKM barrel, or an Infinity Island barrel, which are the two I use, or even a Schumann, they're almost 3 inches long and that high. So think about this: the slide has to be cut out to accommodate that island, for that island to nest in the slide. So all that weight was taken out of the slide, which is the reciprocating mass. And the slide metal actually weighs less than the island metal. That island barrel is a thicker, stainless, which is less porous. So what you've got there is that big, heavy island all the way forward from the muzzle back to the termination point, which is maybe 3 inches. You've got that big, heavy island out there. And I tell you, big, heavy. It's not like it's a pound, but it's a percentage out there, right? Really far forward. You've cut the slide out. So now you have a lighter slide. You've got a commander or less weight. So you've got real fast reciprocation for your cyclic speed. Another thing is, think about this. When the slide comes back and bottoms out on the recoil and goes forward, as it's coming back, that's going to pull the gun up also. So if the spring's too tight, it's going to push and want to pull that up. If it's too loose, it bangs into it. It's going to pull it up. It's just the reciprocating mass, the heavy slides coming back, it's going to make the gun come up. So that's going to, it's got to come up just a smidgen to unlock the locking lugs for the gun to work. But that extra weight is taken out, so less mass coming back to stop and then change directions. So you're going to have less up and less back down, right? Also, you've seen guns where when they go into battery, they actually dip. So when you've got a gun that's dipping already, and then you port it and you're redirecting that gas up, that bitch is dipping even more. So, the island barrel solves a lot of problems. It's aesthetically cool as shit. It's like, look at me. You talk about flex points, island barrels rule. This is all my opinion. I just love island barrels. But they just transfer all that weight forward. So there's less weight going back, less weight going forward, faster. They don't dip as much and they don't rise as much. And you've got all the weight that stays there. Another cheater way for shooting in class competitions, which I think if Michael Blackson's still in here, is what they call a sight block. It would be like the XC's compensator, but it's not opened up. It's closed. It's just a sight block to move the sight forward on the barrel so the sight doesn't reciprocate with the slide, but it's also putting that chunk of metal far forward and making the slide shorter. So a 5-inch gun has a 4 1/4 commander length slide with a 3/4 inch sight block, which puts the weight out there and it pulls the less. So you get the fast action of a commander, the lighter weight, so you have less pull up and less dip down and transferring the weight to the nose, kind of like an island barrel does. So that's what it would be, is a, hey, what would Lou do? Thanks for joining, buddy. I'm having trouble keeping up with the comments, my first serious live here. But so that's what the sight block is designed to do, which is a lot, can be cheaper to manufacture and cheaper to purchase, so that's how I answer the island barrel thing. To me, it's just like, the island barrel is the maximum flex. I mean, just think about this. Infinity is almost, I'm not going to say exclusively, crap load of island barrels recently over the last few years, island barrels. And they have some unique porting on their island barrels as well. So let me see what we got here. Some about Hot Wheels. DSC is making a sight block now for XC. Yep, David over there at DSC. He's got a sight block barrel where it's basically you swap it out in the XC, and now you have a gun that can do 2 classes. The compensator puts that gun in the open class. But I love my XC, but I wouldn't want to compete in open major with an XC. No way. I just take one of my open guns, and shoot a real race gun. But now by putting a sight block in that XC, man, that's a game changer for the XC. I don't know what he's charging for it, but he's generally pretty fair on the pricing. So let me see what else we got here. Guns and Tundra. Yeah. I think Lou drives I think last time he came to shoot with me, he's had a big, nice Toyota Tundra, if I remember right. Is that right? Yeah. So somebody throw something in the comments there. We talked about different barrels. Like I said, Island barrel is the flex. Nothing wrong with the ported bull barrel. But you're going to see, my email, let me see, it's Major Havoc 2011 at gmail.com. So just the name Major Havoc 2011 at gmail.com. You can email me anytime. Plus, it's on my channel in the info, or when you hit the details of the channel, it'll tell you what my email is. If you got questions on stuff like, actually, I was talking to What Would Lou Do? He's in here now. We were talking today about porting. It's kind of ironic that was the subject of the live tonight was porting and upgrades. But I think I even dropped a video called upgrades, budget upgrades, mild to wild. And so to me, mild is like we originally talked about, the internal kit and new trigger, and that's mild, and it progresses to the porting, then it progresses to the slide cuts and all that, and it finalizes with the grip. So, and you can do those all in stages. Like I said, you need some help on that. I can also give you some ideas if you send me if I'm familiar with your gun, which most of them I would be. If it's a 2011, you tell me this 2011 that you have. I can look at the slide. I can measure the slide, look at the different slide cuts, and I can tell you what kind of porting and what size. I can give you that kind of guidance on what I think and what my data shows would be the best performance-oriented ports. Now, some people are really more about aesthetics, and that's fine. And that some ports just look cooler than others. And keep in mind, a decent port, whether it's inline, V, or chunk, is going to assist you in muzzle rise and softness. Just some are better than others and perform a little bit better. Also, especially with compensators, the ammunition makes a big difference. Oh yeah, let me see. Yeah, Dara, I was actually on the phone. I can't discuss the details of the conversation, but I was on the phone with Daria today about some new product developments, and we were talking about that. But the little Island barrel one, Chuck was with me. I think we shot Saturday this week instead of Sunday gun day. I can't remember. We were doing some chronograph testing on the Dara and with different barrels, and so we had an anomaly. And I was on the phone with Dara about that, sharing some data. So we're going to have to do some. Chuck, if you're still here, we're going to do some more testing. Says, let me see. Oh, this is a great question. Do I have thoughts on a Bull Armory TAC Pro comp? Yeah, I can't say I've shot it, but it's a great gun. I love it. My only complaint with Bull, and it's not really a complaint, is they've got proprietary magazines. I did find out though, some of my old Para magazines work in a Bull, so I'm going to do some more testing, and I'll share it on the channel because those magazines are available through Remington. I'll tell you the secret later on. But my only problem with Bull is that they are proprietary mags, and they look so similar. When I travel, I like to have one mag. I don't like foreign mags going into 2011. I want MBX or Atlas or Checkmate, Staccatos, Checkmate, whatever. I want that style mag, and I don't want the little short ones either. I want 140 millimeter magazines. I don't want one that the damn base pad hides up in the mag well. You can't get to it if it gets stuck. Whatever. So thoughts on the Bull TAC Pro comp? Very good gun. I can't believe it's coming in. The last I saw, the pricing on that was $28.50 is what I heard. So any hot ammo recommendations for a ported gun with a comp as well? Yes. I'll tell you the truth. I don't have it with me. I do accuracy testing with 16 different ammos. So if anybody's seen on the channel where I use a board that has 12 to 16 different little 3-inch squares or 3-inch circles, I test all guns with most of the time 12 different ammos. If it's a commander that's going to be carried, I also test it with 4 different hollow points. We make 16 ammos. I test everything. I'm like a nerdy ass scientist on when it comes to guns. But hot ammo for a ported gun, off the shelf, you want S&B It's called 9B. That's the part number 9B for Bravo 124. It is a very good round. It is a full metal jacket that has a thick jacket. It doesn't deform. It is a very accurate. I mean, I'm talking about out of my haze, I can put 10 shots at 15 yards, all in the X ring, which is 1.5 inches in diameter on my target. 1.5 inch, just stand, that's how accurate that ammo is. Plus, it doesn't hurt that it's a ported Island Barrel haze. That kind of gives you an advantage as well. But the S&B 124 is a good full metal jacket. It's hot. It qualifies for NATO spec. So I think it's 1,150 feet per second out of the muzzle on a 5-inch gun. Okay. Yeah. A scientist. There you go. What would I recommend for competition? Ammo, let me see. Van Scott. I don't know if you're asking about which pistol for competition. Then I'd have to know what class you want to shoot. Because if you're going to shoot any of my guns, you're going to be an open, and that's going to be a disadvantage. Let me see. Old text. What would let me see. Let me see. Can you do an Island Barrel in a 3.5-inch gun? Yes, you can. The hardest thing is finding the barrel, and you got to find a non-tapered barrel. You got to find a 4-inch, a 4.25 Island Barrel that's capable of being cut down. I know we can do an Island Barrel at 3.9 and 4 inches. I'm pretty sure it can be done at 3.5. I'm not positive. It all depends on the barrel. But I would say for sure 4-inch. Let me see. What 2011 would you recommend for an open gun competition? Open gun. Would you want an open gun like an open race gun, or more of a standard chassis? Where it's just you don't have the race guns are mostly what's called a frame mounted optic. They've got on the frame they've got an optic mount that goes up and over, and the optic doesn't move. It stays still, and the slide reciprocates under it. It normally has a racker or a charging handle. So I like, for the money, and you think about this, for the money, I really like, if you want a race gun style open gun, I really like the Masterpiece. The Masterpiece, and it is a really good choice because it's really priced reasonable in your choice of. It's going to be a steel grip. It's going to be a huge mag well. It's going to have a frame mounted optic. It's going to have a charging handle. It's going to have a 3-port compensator and poplar portholes. But you're going to be running open ammunition. If you don't want to run open class major, 9mm major ammunition or anything like 38 Super, you can go with the Atlas Erebus, but you're talking a lot of money. I think $8K. Or you could go with the Phoenix Trinity Honcho V2 from Covert. That is on the fun factor. I give it a perfect 100 points. It is to me, the Honcho V2 Covert Edition is the funnest gun in my safe. It's the flattest. It's the very flattest at speed, right? It's not as accurate as the Atlas Erebus, but we're only splitting hairs. We're talking about, a 1/4-inch difference in the group. Every now and then a flyer, but I think it's a little lighter. And I bounced off target before, but a Honcho V2 for a minor, an Atlas Erebus, Akai makes a great open class gun as well, reasonably priced. But you can't go wrong. If I was going to shoot major, I'd get a Masterpiece Arms. If I'm going to shoot minor, but I want a race gun, I'd get the Masterpiece Arms Steel Challenge, which is the open minor. That's what I shoot. That's the gun I shoot, is the 2-port compensator. and no ports, and it's what I use for open. Uh, the Masterpiece that's like the SXC. It's the DS9TC tactical comp. Well, could be threaded comp. I don't know. TC. That's a fun gun. Mine's a steel grip, so you can't go wrong with those. But those are going to put you in open minors, so you're scoring 1 point less. Says, let me see. How did you get the Steel Fusion Arms magwell on the Cosent Arms grip? Okay, you talking about the Cosent aluminum grip or the Cosent polymer grip? I've got the Fusion steel grip, but it's not the Fusion grip that fits the Fusion gun. It's just from their parts catalog. It's called the it's kind of it's got a funny shape to the nose, like IDPA shape. It's a steel magwell. It's like 60 or 70 bucks online. To me, it goes right on. Yeah, you got the aluminum Cosent grip. It should go right on. Are you having a little trouble right at the back, hinging it up, right where the it turns, where the pin goes through? If you're having a little trouble there, you could call Greg at Cosent, or you could just smack it with a hammer. I don't know what. Did you get the grip on a Cosent gun, or did you buy the grip and put it on another gun? What is the optimal barrel length for an island barrel? Okay, that's very subjective. I don't know if Jeff is still in here. Jeff would tell you 5-inch. I would tell you 5-inch. It's, I would say 4.5 to 4.6 would be the minimum I would want on an island barrel. I mean, for competition and just really getting the benefit of the island barrel is getting the longest island, the furthest out. There even is way back in the day when I first started, when I left Para and went to STI, the first island barrel I shot, if I remember right, was 5.4 inches. Which is currently what anybody shot the Staccato XL. That's a non-ported gun. But I had I did sell it. I wish I hadn't, but I needed to fund another project. So I had the one of 600, the Staccato XL Limited island barrel. It had a gold island barrel. It was 5.4 inch, non-ported. But I wanted to port it, and I didn't want to ruin the value of the gun, so I sold it for top dollar to fund another fantasy gun. But yeah, 5-inch. I'm going to say 5-inch. I'm not a fan of the 5.4. I've had two. I had an STI and I had the Staccato, and I didn't like the extra length. Some people do. I didn't. I'm just a 5-inch guy. Let me see who anybody else chime in. What's the favorite 2011 my own? I've only been asked that in excess of hundreds of thousands of times, and if you asked me that while we're on the range, my answer is whatever's in my holster. I just love them all, And I know that's I'm not trying to cop out, but I probably shot just about every one of them. So maybe what come out in the last 6 months, I've kind of been busy, and my funds have been limited, so I just haven't been able to get everything I wanted. But nobody can get everything they want. But I just like them all. I mean, I have a lot of fun with my Mac 9 upgrades and the Romulus upgrades and the Bursa upgrade especially, and the Girsan Match X. Now, my Match X is a very rare one, a little bit different upgrade. My Match X actually performs up there with my Atlas and the Staccatos and the other guns because it's not an aluminum frame like the Match X came from Girsan. It is a steel frame. So mine is a steel frame Match X that's comped and ported, and aluminum grip, some extra weight in the gun. So it is a super flat and fast shooter. Matter of fact, it beat the XC in a head-to-head competition by 0.02 of a second. Well, that's not much, but it sure did beat it. That's kind of how I roll on that. But if I had to say right now, my Hayes ported island barrel would probably be the number one because whoever's the collector, whoever's the reviewer, nobody could give it a lower score than Grail quality. It is just high-end quality. Hand fit. They don't even use the CNC machine. This is all done on like old school Bridgeports. This is craftsmanship at its finest. Is it the coolest aesthetics on the planet? No. I mean, you look at a Venom or a Rafferty or even my Bursa that Trenton did. I mean, the slide cuts, the window cuts, the aesthetics. You know, the Hayes is very classic, very cool, but the fit, the finish, the function, the accuracy, the reliability. I would say if I had to pick from my personal collection, it would be Hayes. I'd have to, you know, it's still not the funnest. It's my favorite, maybe, but it's not the funnest. The funnest is the the Covert Honcho V2. That bitch is just fun. I just can't, you know, I don't know why, but I think if you talked with Michael Blackson at Team Blacksmith, you talked to Jeff at the Weapon Collective, you talked to Alan at 2A in LA, and Clay Mack. I don't know if Clay has shot the V2. I know he has a Hayes though. The Honcho V2 is just an amazing shooter. So. Confidence Reloaded. Well, darling, it's okay. We've been going for about 90 minutes. I'm going to wind it down here in a little bit. But everybody just remember on my channel, you've got my email is majorhavoc2011@gmail.com. So I can answer questions in there. The good thing is I'm retired and I do read my email. So let me see. Yeah, Austin, hit me with an email and I'll help you out on that magwell because I use that magwell a lot on a lot of different guns. I even use that Fusion steel magwell on my Watchtower Apache and my Watchtower Demolition because it gives me that extra weight that I need. So, well, I hope you guys have enjoyed the first kind of live like this, kind of an unstructured live. I just wanted to get the conversation going about budget guns, porting, and some basic upgrades. The one thing that YouTube screws us on is we can't show and handle a gun on a live broadcast. And so what I'm going to do is come out with a series, you know, in increments, like working down to my top 10, like take my entire collection and start, you know, like reviewing like a countdown to the top 10 and try to show each of them. I just did it this week, I think, on a quick short, 1 minute short on 5 prodigies. That's what I'm going to do this weekend at the range is take 5 prodigies, which will answer the topic today for many who've asked, which is better. I've got a prodigy that's inline ported. I got a prodigy that's V ported. I got a prodigy that's chunk ported with V ports. I have a prodigy that's chunk ported with inline ports and a comp. So I'm going to test all those against each other for accuracy, for speed, and for muzzle rise. So that'll be coming out probably Sunday or Monday. The Yoda. Yeah, there you go, Jeff. You know, I tell you what, I just love 2011s. I actually like all guns. Matter of fact, I don't even know if I should film it tomorrow, but tomorrow we're doing a WW day. Now that's called Wooden War Rifles. So me and some guys are going to the range, and the rule is it has to be a wooden stocked gun from a previous war we were in, right? So I'm going to be a lot of guys are going to take M1 Garands. Some of them are going to take, you know, M14s or M1A1s. I am taking a 1903 Springfield bolt action 30 cal, which is 30-06. So the other guys are going to be shooting 308s, little wimpy rifles. So we're doing Wooden War Rifle Day tomorrow, and the targets I have at 100 yards are 4 inches of the diameter. So we're going to see who wins the Wooden War Rifle. It's going to be me. I'm not arrogant, but it's going to be me. We're going to do Wooden War Rifle Day, and so I'm bringing out my 1903 Springfield. And for anybody who watched the movie Saving Private Ryan, our sniper that was using that 1903, he was using a 1903 A4 sniper, which had a old school 2.5 power, I believe it was 2.5 power optic on it. No, just a simple T-post reticle in it. So that's how mine is set up. Mine is a recreation of that rifle from Hollywood, and so that's what I shoot. So, okay, let me see what here. Hey, Dara support. Yeah, man. Yeah, I was chatting with Harry today. I got that gold barrel non-ported, and then I got the Island upper and the Island gun, and we were out there testing the velocity on those. And so I'm going to have to redo the test. I think that I got an anomaly reading on the Island barrel gun, so I'm going to use some different ammos and retest it at a little bit greater distance. I think I was getting some muzzle blast going over my chrono. But yeah, Harry is a cool dude. He knows how to build a 2011. We all know that. So let me see. Any holster recommendations for Infinities? I've emailed Hammer Armor and see if they can make me a few. I don't know. I think I'm pretty sure Jeff uses Priority One, a light bearing holster. I use Priority One as well. I also run a gas pedal on a lot of guns, so I have some holsters custom made. But I would say, Jeff, if you can answer in the chat, because I got it on slow where it takes a minute so I can read them. But a fellow wants to know what kind of holster for Infinities, and I know you've got a bunch of Infinities, and I think Michael's already left, Blackson. But I would think if you're going to run a popular light on your Infinity, you're going to be able to use a light bearing holster, no problem. Like a Priority One, I use a Fox Valley Kydex, River Arms LLC, Charles Rivera. He's on Facebook as well, or River Arms LLC. Yep, QVO. That's QVO is that's Rogers' company, I believe, out in Vegas, I think. Yep, that's what the Jeff at the Weapon Collective just said. All his Infinities fit the Priority One, but they run the X300. Yep, we know he runs X300. That's where me and my guy Jeff, we agree on almost everything, but we don't agree on lights. He's new school, I'm old school. He's X300, and I'm an old Streamlight guy from the past. So I'm still Streamlight TLR1 HLs because I got my holsters broke in the way I like them, and I'm not changing. So, plus I think that X300, that's a flex. I flex with my targets. That's good. Just giving you some shit there, Jeffrey. Yeah, that's right. Chuck uses that Omnivore. I was shooting with Chuck this weekend, and I kept calling his holster a carnivore, and he corrected me like twice. Omnivore. So I called it a carnivore because it eats every gun you put in it. So, but that's just how I remember it. Yeah. Okay, it's not set up to run a light. If you're not set up to run a light, Priority One, I like those, and or any duty style holster, depends on your holster mount as well. But you can also talk to Roger at QVO, and I believe Charles at River Arms LLC. He just made me a non-light bearing one probably a month or so ago. So yeah, I know it'll work. And I use a Safariland QLS mount. My holster mounts to a mount that's called a fork. So what happens is my belt rig is separate from the holster, and my holster has a square fork that goes down into my belt. So I can, without getting undressed or changing belts, I can change holsters if I'm switching from a 2011 with a light to, let's say, a 2011 without a light. Because I have a couple of guns that do not have a rail. They're purpose-built competition guns. They don't have a rail. They got super heavy frames. I mean, like heavier than the light extra. And so they don't have a rail, so they don't work in that light bearing holster. So I can just squeeze two little tabs and pull the holster out. So it's called a Safariland QLS, which is a quick locking system, or the fork, FORK. Yeah, Jeff's right. If you're not running a light, you got to know which gun it is on the Infinity because the thickness of they've got different thickness of frames and different heights. But yeah, that's about how all that works. Let me see if I can catch up on any more questions. So before we get ready to wind down, we've been going a little over an hour now, so I didn't want to hold you guys too long. I could do this all night long. Yeah, I'm retired. So let me see here. Yeah, Jeff is 100% right. The Infinities are gun specific on some holsters. He can you can email him as well. I know he responds to emails. Let me see here. Yeah, the ones with the light all work in the there. Let me see if I missed anybody. Let me see. Okay, let me see. G. Turner Rink. Put details of everything you've done to them from mainspring weight to recoil weights, please. You help mine feed 115 perfectly now. Well, I'm glad I helped. Let me see. I just ordered a Romulus 4.25. What are some of the must-have upgrades? Should I open the factory port or give aftermarket ports? Okay, that's a good question. I don't know if at Benny Boy Harris is still in here. If you can, give me a thumbs up in the chat or whatever. I'll tell you about the Romulus. There are folks that are opening up the comp, and they wonder why on both of my Romuluses, I have the 3.5 comp, which is a 4 1/4 overall, and I have the 4 1/4 comp, which is a 5-inch overall. My first one was the very first generation Romulus that had the RMSC slide cut, which I hate, but I just dealt with it. I didn't want to refinish the gun, so I kept it with that optic and just put a Gideon XL because it's a real big window for my poor eyes. But it had a triport comp. It had a hole in the top and then two on the tri-top on the angle. So it had 3 openings in the comp, and everybody said it wasn't breathing enough. Well, it did a decent job from the factory. So I did some supplemental reporting. I did 3 ports on that, and what happens is it's running great. So now there's a couple places like DSC and Skips Guns that are opening up the comp, and they're calling it a different kind of service for like $100 or whatever. They're opening up the comp. Opening up the comp all by itself is only going to help you a small percentage. It is going to help. I don't want to tell these guys that are upgrading them, these machine shops, that opening up the comp doesn't help. It does help a little bit. But if you supplement report it and leave the comp factory, you're going to get the most benefit. Or if you supplement report it and open up the comp a little bit, you're going to get some benefit. But remember, when you port it, the gas is coming out through the ports before it gets to the comp. So if the comp is so big, right? Think about this. If the comp is so big and some of the gas already exited the ports because they're coming out of the bullets coming out of the chamber, is going down the barrel, and the gas gets out the ports first and it gets out the comp last, right? So now you have less gas at a lower pressure going out the comp. Well, if the comp has a big ass hole in it, what happens? It's gonna have a volume of gas going out, but that gas is gonna have a lower pressure. What pushes the muzzle down is the pressure of the exiting gas. So has anybody ever played with a water hose when they were a kid and you're out there and you would squirt each other? Well, if you just turn your water hose on, the water comes out the diameter of the hose, 5/8 of it or half inch, it streams out. It goes like 3 feet, right? It just goes out this way. You put your thumb over the end of that hose and block off half of it, it shoots out 30 feet. Porting works the same way. That's why porting is technically fluid dynamics, right? So what happens is if some of the gas starts leaving the ports, which it does if you port it, and then it gets to a comp that's just got one ginormous big ass opening where somebody went in there and milled that bitch out. Now a lot of gas is going to go out, but it's not as pressurized. So does it help? Yes, because the more that goes up and out the comp is less that goes out the muzzle. So it's going to counteract like that, and the comp's on the end, right? So it kind of counterlevers it and helps with muzzle rise a little. But let's think about this. If the remaining gas and the remaining pressure of gas is coming out after the ports have started the process first, Then it exits out the comp. If it's the 2-port comp or the 3-port comp from the Romulus, whichever series you have, it's squeezing out that smaller hole, so it's under a higher pressure. So if the hole's too small, it doesn't work. If it's too big, it doesn't work as good. When I say doesn't work, I mean as good, optimal. So there's the nerd in me again. One more time, I apologize. Let me see. 3 ports is the magic. Leave the comp. Yeah, Chuck. Well, I don't want to tell people not to modify their guns, but yeah, Chuck's right. He shot my Romulus, and he has a Romulus, and you know, the if I thought I'd get more benefit by opening up the comp, wouldn't y'all in the chat and out there in YouTube land and out there in shooter land, wouldn't you think I would have done it? Wouldn't you think my data would say open the comp up? But my data, my experience, and my testing says don't open the comp up, but port it. That's what it says. But I've shot them with and without opened up comps, and unless you're shooting them back to back, you're going to like whatever you do. So I don't want to tell you what not to do or what to do, but I'm just trying to give you some of the best data that I have. And I get I was on that forum called Reddit, and that's some caustic bastards sometimes. You get some keyboard warriors on there that want to fight with you. But okay, I'm a quick draw artist as well. So back when I shot cowboy, so you don't want to tussle too much. But they said they start criticizing guns and all that. Then I'll ask them, well, have you shot that gun? No. Do you own that gun? No. Then to me, just shut up. But and they kept saying, well, what makes you an expert? I am definitely, chat, listen to me. I'm not an expert. I just have 45 years experience of doing this stuff. So, I don't think anybody can say they're an expert. I don't know how you qualify yourself or how someone else would qualify you as an expert. We just all have different levels of knowledge and different levels of experience. And I've just, I just love the platform, and that's just what I do. So, but if you want to open the comp up, you're going to help it. I just, I'm just thinking, the benefit, where I get maximum benefit. That's it. A recommendation for supplemental ports. Any of the places can do those inline ports. A lot of them, because that's a very small job, just cutting the slide and doing the 3 inline ports. But DSC does it. Skip's Guns does it. Coast Arms does about 80% of mine, and between that and TDS Gunworks. But what I would say, if you're going to send it off to get ported, you also want to do a couple extra things, because, if the gun is not going to run as fast as the ports want it to run, you didn't really help yourself. So on the Romulus, I still would, to me, I'd have to have a grip swap on a Romulus. I just do not like the factory grip, but I would send it to Trenton at TDS, or Greg at Coast Arms, or Dave at DSC, because I know they all do grip swaps. They all do EGW ignition kits. They all do red dirt or Atlas triggers. You get to choose. And I'd at least do the internal ignition upgrade, the trigger upgrade, and the porting. And then I'd throw on a grip too, but that's just me. But then you've raised the price about $800 to $1,000, but it'll perform like nobody's business. It'll shoot right up there with a $4,500 XC. Let me see. Are we all caught up? Okay, we are now approaching 90 minutes. I'm going to wind this. My clock says it's 9:51. I'm going to wind this thing down right at 10 o'clock, which is about 8 or 9 more minutes. So anybody, next time I'll open the comments up to a little bit faster speed, so in case anybody's frustrated that it's not going through, because this was my first time trying to read comments and talk at the same time. I hope I did okay and didn't bore you too bad. But if you saw the nerd in me come out, I apologize. I'm normally just, all I want to do is talk about guns and shoot guns. So that's all I've, in my whole life, and I'm really old here, is my main passions is going fast in cars, driving my race cars on the Bonneville Salt Flats, racing my hot rods and motorcycles, 200 miles an hour and over, and hot rods and guns. Just guns and fast cars is what I'm all about. So, Oh, there we go. Van Scott 763. Welcome to the chat. What's the best budget 2011 to buy? Well, the Mac 9 has been getting a lot of points lately on that. Thank you, Lou. I really appreciate that, buddy. The Mac 9 gets a lot of points. If you'd asked me that question a month ago, I probably would have said if I could only pick one budget gun, it would be the Mac 9 and then do the upgrades to it. But I tell you what, that Bursa has me changing my mind. The Bursa is just, holy Moses. And it's only a couple $100 more than that. The Bursa is cheaper than the Romulus. Of course, it's not ported or comped. But then when they're just a plain 5-inch gun, you've got so much room for creativity. So you can see my Bursa on my channel and on TDS Gunworks Instagram. That's silver Bursa, polished, high polished, and satin two-tone finish with the black grip. That's mine, and it's badass. There's all I can say about it. But it'd be a toss-up to me. If you wanted to with a factory chunk port, I'd go Mac 9. If you want a non-ported one where you can be more creative, I'd go Bursa. Bursa comes in stainless, which is what I got. It also comes in black. But it's a fine gun. Haven't had any trouble. I haven't had any trouble with my Match X or my Match from Gerson, but of course they are super highly modified. Let me see. There you go. What would Lou do? My guy from South Carolina, he's saying right now the Mac 9 is definitely best in class, and he's got a 4 1/4. I've got both. I think Jeff said about 30 minutes ago he thought the Mac 9 was a good contender. Thank you, guys. All right. Let's get a few more questions in here, and let me know what you think. I'm like I said, I'm kind of new to YouTube. Only like 14 or 15 months doing it with the gun stuff. I had my hot rod and racing stuff on this same channel, so it says I've been on YouTube a long time, but I really haven't. It's just been like, I don't know, 14 or 15 months. And Chuck might know more than I do about when I started doing this YouTube. But this technology stuff is kind of new to me. But that's trying this live stuff, and this is just the YouTube software. I'm going to get better software because I'm going to be able to want to invite guests on here before come and have a joint and I'm going to do like a podcast on this stuff, kind of like, I don't know, monthly. I don't think we can do weekly. But I appreciate you guys. Great questions. What nobody asked, because I think you guys are, if you're on this channel, that means you're smart. That means you are a smart 2011 person, right? You know your stuff. You know what you want. But you didn't ask this question. How come my guns don't stay locked open on an empty mag? Well, Lou, he knows what I'm going to say. That I don't want my gun to stay open. I do not want it to go to slide lock. So I run the followers in my magazines are non-lockback followers on most of them, and I have a gas pedal, and the gas pedal defeats the slide lock because I don't want to use the slide lock to run the gun dry. I'm going to change ammo before the gun runs out. That's the competitor in me and just the old school. Plus, running a longer mag that doesn't hit into the mag well. If you're going fast, like on the clock, like you see Jeff, doing his little quick 1.43 is his personal record on a 1R1, one reload one. But a lot of his average times right there in that 1.6, 1.7. You put that 140 millimeter mag in there with the slide open, and that thing goes up too far. That mag is going to bang into your ejector, and it's going to bend or break that ejector, and then you've had a bad day. You can't fix that on the range, and you're not going to have one with you anyway. So that's why I don't run it. So, all right, I got to get out of here. It's almost 10 o'clock. I appreciate all you guys. Hit me up with email or go to one of my videos and chat with me and let me know if I should you change topics and do another live. I don't mind doing these every now and then, and I want to have some special guests in the future. Thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope there was a tidbit of information. If each person got one little question answered, then we had a good 90 minutes. Thank you guys so much. And this is Havoc, and I'm out of here.